Hello, my amazing science friends, and welcome. Are you ready? Because today we are going on an incredible adventure. We're going to solve a super big and super quiet mystery. Okay, I want you to imagine a giant, sparkly star way out in deep space. And it explodes, a huge kaboom with colors and lights and sparkles flashing everywhere. But what if that giant explosion was completely silent? Shh, not a peep, no sound at all. How could that even happen? Well, we are going to find out. All right, let's get into it. But before we blast off in our imaginary rocket ship to space, let's talk about sound right here on good old Earth. I mean, you can hear my voice right now, can't you? Your ears are doing a great job listening to all the words I'm saying. So, how does that actually work? How does the sound of my voice get from me and travel all the way to your ears? Is it magic? Abracadabra? Nope, not quite. You see, sound can't travel all by itself. It needs a special helper to go on its journey. And this part is super important. Sound absolutely cannot travel all by itself. It needs something to carry it, kind of like you need a grown-up to drive you in a car to get to school. And here on Earth, our special invisible helper is the air. It's all around us. Go on, take a big breath in and out. See? You're breathing in our amazing sound helper right now. So scientists have a fancy name for this. They call it a sound wave. But really, you can just think of it as a little wiggle that travels through the air, like a vibration. Here's a cool way to picture it. Imagine you're holding one end of a long jump rope, and your friend is holding the other. If you give your end a little wiggle, what happens? That wiggle travels all the way down the rope to your friend, right? That's kind of what sound does with air. It makes the air wiggle. Okay, this shows the whole journey perfectly. So, step 1. You're at the park and you see your friend, so you shout, "Hello!" Now, for step 2, your hello can't just fly across the park by itself. It needs to travel. So what does it do? It hitches a ride on our helper, the air. I like to think of it like the air is giving your hello a super fun piggyback ride. And then, step 3, the air carries it all the way across the playground, right into your friend's ear. And they hear you. Isn't that awesome? Here's another really fun way to think about it. Let's pretend your voice is a little red ball. If you wanted to get that ball to your friend across the room, you can't just make it magically appear in their hand, right? Nope, exactly. You need something to get it there. Well, with sound, the air is what carries the sound ball. The air literally picks it up and takes it where it needs to go. So, what if there was no air? The ball would just drop right at your feet. It wouldn't go anywhere. And that's the big secret. No air, no sound. All right, so now we're experts on how sound works here on Earth. We know the secret ingredient is our helper, the air. But what about when we go way up? Past the clouds, past the sky, past the moon, all the way out into deep, dark space. Well, space has a special name. It's called a vacuum. And a vacuum is just a fancy word for a super-duper, incredibly empty place. And what's the most important thing that's missing for our little sound ball to travel? You got it. Air. There is no air in space. None. Not a single tiny bit. At all. So let's really look at the difference here. On the one hand, you have Earth. It's full of billions and trillions of tiny little air particles, all just waiting to be our sound helpers. They're an amazing team. But then you look at space, and it's just empty. There are no air particles, no helpers waiting around. It's totally, completely empty. Whoa, that is so empty. Okay, so let's go back to our big mystery from the beginning. That giant, beautiful star is about to explode. It's going to make a huge, powerful kaboom! But wait, We just learned there's no air in space. So, where can the sound go? What do you think is going to happen? Okay, get ready. Here it comes. The biggest explosion in the whole universe. Cover your ears. It's going to be so loud. Let's count it down together. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1. Nothing. You hear absolutely nothing. Just silence. And here's exactly why that happened. Now, the sound was definitely made, for sure. That big explosion made a giant sound wave. But there was no air there to catch it. The sound had no helper to give it a piggyback ride. So the poor little sound was just stuck, all alone with nowhere to go. It was trapped right where the star exploded. Isn't that just the most amazing, strange thing? That's so weird. Okay, a giant star exploding is pretty cool. But what about something a little more musical? Let's think of another fun example. Imagine you're an astronaut floating in space and you have your very own awesome electric rock and roll guitar. Now, if you play that super cool guitar right here on Earth, what happens? The air grabs that music, grabs every single note, and carries it right to our ears. We can hear the whole song and dance around the room. Rock on. But what if that same astronaut, with that same cool guitar, floats out into the emptiness of space, and they play the best, most amazing guitar solo ever? They're strumming the strings, their fingers are flying, they're making all the right rock star moves. You would hear absolutely zero. Nothing. Not a single note. Not one little strum of the guitar. Why? Because there's no air to be the music's special helper. It's just like with the star. It's like all that cool music is trapped inside the guitar. It has no way to get out and travel to your ears. The sound is being made, but it can't go on its journey. So the big thing to remember from all this is that space is the most silent, most quiet place you can ever imagine. So, wow, we learned that even the biggest explosions are totally silent in space. But this leaves us with one last really fun question to think about. Even if no one else can hear you, can you still sing just for fun? And that really makes me wonder. If you're an astronaut inside your big helmet with all that air to breathe, and you start singing your favorite song, do you think you would be able to hear yourself sing? What do you think? Thanks so much for solving this super quiet mystery with us today.